Incredible twist. She stepped in at the wedding booth and discovered a single dad COS heart. Emma stood at her floral booth, flowers surrounding her like a burst of color against the gray backdrop of the drizzly day. The scent of violets danced through the air, mingling with the smell of damp pavement. It was wedding fair day where dreams could blossom or wilt without a trace. She inhaled, filling her lungs with the fragrance of fresh blooms, her hands working tirelessly to create magic from petals. Yet, amid the excitement, she felt a pang of envy as she gazed across the hall at the gleaming bridal gowns on display. What would it be like to plan a wedding without the worry of bills piling up, a fairy tale woven in lace? Suddenly, a voice pulled her from her daydream. "Excuse me, can you help me?" Emma looked up to find a sharply dressed man, his tailored suit hugging his frame just right, with kind eyes and an anxious smile. "Jack." She felt a flutter in her heart, despite the sign above her booth that read "Florist, inquiries welcome." "I'm looking for flowers for my wedding," he said, but there was something tugging at his brow, a heaviness that hinted at more than just floral arrangements. Their conversation began casually, light and playful, yet underneath was a current of raw vulnerability. As Jack opened up, she sensed the weight he carried. A CEO, a single dad juggling responsibilities that were more daunting than her own. Around them, the fair buzzed with the excitement of couples dreaming of their futures, but Emma found solace in their shared understanding. She overheard Jack, in hushed tones, admitting his fears to a friend. He felt pressure as both a business leader and an overwhelmed father, tangled in expectations that were suffocating. It felt oddly comforting to know they were both struggling in their own ways, yet society had labeled him as an aloof businessman. Then came the thunderclap. Jack's fiancée called off the wedding, and chaos rippled through the fair like a downpour. Shock echoed as guests gasped, retreating into whispers. Emma watched as Jack's world crumbled before him. That sleek smile faltered, his polished exterior cracking under the weight of heartbreak. Something stirred within her, a warmth, an urge to reach out. "Hey," she found herself saying, "how about we pick flowers that speak to you? Let us find something that tells your story." It was more than floral advice. It was about genuine connection. She offered him a glimpse of family and community support, holes they both felt in their lives. Their conversations deepened, laughter healing old wounds and tears spilling over disappointments, layers unraveling slowly, but building something new in its wake. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As they spoke, Emma felt admiration for Jack, but self-doubt loomed, threatening to shatter this budding connection. Could a florist and a CEO truly bridge the gap between their lives? Was it possible for their worlds to intertwine, or was she doomed to retreat into her insecurities? Just as she contemplated their fragile bond, she felt the wind shift, a moment of hope intertwining with fear. The crowd moved around them, but in that moment, it was just them. Emma stood at a crossroads, unsure if she was ready to redefine what family could be, or if she would let fear swallow her whole. Emma couldn't shake the feeling of uncertainty as she stood there with Jack, the hum of the wedding fair fading into a dull roar. His eyes were so alive, filled with emotion, yet clouded with a haze of sorrow. There was turbulence in his heart, and she felt a strange magnetism drawing her closer. "What did you have in mind for the flowers?" she asked, her fingers idly arranging a cluster of sunflower and lavender, a hint of brightness amid the gloom. As he pondered, she couldn't help but marvel at how open he had been with her. It was far from usual that anyone would share their innermost fears so freely, especially not a man like him. "I thought I wanted something classic, white roses, maybe." But he hesitated, running a hand down his tie. "Now I'm not sure what any of it means without her." She felt a quick stab in her heart. "Flowers can tell a story, you know. Maybe this should be about what you want, what you need." His gaze met hers, and she felt herself ready to lay bare her own feelings. "What if you chose flowers for you? Not just for the wedding that isn't happening?" Jack nodded slowly. What if I chose flowers that I can share with my daughter? His smile returned, tentative but bright. The concept of family tugged at her, reminding her of her own upbringing, how much joy and warmth a single bloom could bring. They began picking out petals that represented not just dreams of love, but memories, laughter, and the hope of new beginnings. With a splash of color, right? Jack teased, pointing to a vibrant dahlia. She would love that one. Laughter bubbled over, and Emma felt herself relax, the tension between them shifting. It wasn't about price tags or lavish arrangements. It was about intent, about the personal touch that made flowers beautiful. In that moment, the booth felt like their own little world, free from judgment and expectations. As they settled on a bouquet, Jack's phone buzzed, breaking their sweet connection. He frowned as he glanced at the screen. "It's my business partner. I need to take this, yeah, of course," Emma replied, sensing the shift as he stepped away. She could see the strain of duty settle on his shoulders again, the edges of his carefree demeanor fading. Standing behind the booth, she stacked vases in silence, her heart racing a bit at the thought of what this moment meant. Sure, they had shared a small escape, but reality, even amidst floral fantasies, loomed large. Did he see her? Really see her? Or was she just a passing distraction in the storm of life? When he returned, Jack wore a reassembled mask. "Sorry about that." "No problem," she replied, forcing a smile that felt a little too tight. But her breath hitched when he placed a hand on hers just for an instant, but it sent warmth through her. His grip tightened lightly before he pulled away. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything," she said, her heart skipping. "What is your happiest wedding memory?" The question caught her off guard. The past rushed to the forefront, family gatherings filled with smiles, her best friend's wedding where the dance floor ignited with pure joy. There's this one wedding where I helped a bride arrange flowers in her brewery. It was messy, but we laughed until we cried. It was the happiest chaos. I'd love to be a part of that kind of happiness," he said softly, eyes locked into hers with genuine interest. Just like that, the distance she sensed moments ago began to dissolve. But just as happiness flickered anew, the sound of the crowd grew louder, the reality of the fair flooding back in. Emma hesitated, uncertain if she was ready for whatever path was unfolding. Just as the thought solidified, Jack's phone buzzed again, rattling their tender moment. "I'm sorry." The frown returned. "I have to take care of something." Her heart sank. "Take your time," she said, trying to lean into the understanding. She knew he had responsibilities beyond the fair, yet a little voice whispered within her, what if their connection was more than a moment? As he walked away, Emma felt the lingering warmth of his touch on her skin, but new shadows of doubt crept in. Would he return? Or was this destined to be just another fleeting encounter in the grand tale that was his life? The fair continued to buzz, but in her heart, a quiet tension brewed. Emma sighed, letting out the breath she didn't realize she was holding. She could feel a wild possibility unfurling within her, yearning for exploration. Would she dare chase that possibility, or let it pass like petals in the wind? As she arranged more flowers, thoughts racing, a sudden burst of laughter from across the way echoed so bright, it pierced through the clouds of doubt. She turned, her heart racing with a new thought. What if this wasn't just a chance meeting? What if it was the beginning of something beautiful? And before she knew it, her gaze locked onto the entrance. Jack was returning, a serious look on his face, a determined fire in his eyes. She could sense he was ready to make a choice, but what choice would it be? Emma's heart raced as Jack approached. The tension of the moment felt as thick as the floral scents that surrounded her. The light-hearted laughter of the fairgoers faded into the background as she focused solely on him. The moments spent together flickered in her mind, the laughter. The connection felt deep and unspoken. But beneath the surface lurked an uncertainty, an unvoiced question that hung between them. Jack stopped just a few feet away, his expression shifting from determination to something softer, almost hopeful. "Sorry about that," he said, running a hand through his hair. "I really didn't mean to leave you hanging." "It's okay," she replied, noting the sincerity in his tone. "You had to handle business." "Yeah, but he faltered, glancing away for just a second. "I wish I could have stayed longer. Talking to you, it's like a breath of fresh air." His words ignited warmth in her chest. But lurking beneath her excitement was a nagging voice, whispering doubts that she had tried to silence. Was he really feeling this connection? Or Or was it just a fleeting moment that would fade once he returned to his world of responsibilities? Breaking the silence, Jack continued. You know, I've been thinking about what you said earlier, flowers can tell a story. He paused, drawing nearer. Choosing something for my daughter, I want to give her something special. Emma felt the tremor of vulnerability beneath his words. You're doing that already by being here, trying to make this work for her. Right? It's just I don't want to fail her. I don't want to hand her broken pieces. His voice cracked slightly, revealing the layers of pressure that pressed down on him. Taking a breath, Emma stepped closer, drawn into his turmoil and warmth. You're not broken, Jack. We all have stories, and those stories, no matter how messy, can bloom into something beautiful. Just like these flowers. For a moment, they stood there, suspended between shadows of regret and light. His eyes searched hers, seeking understanding, wanting to know if she truly believed in the beauty of flawed stories. Can I tell you something? Emma asked, her voice softer than the petals around them. When I look at them, each flower, each arrangement, it reminds me that it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to grow through the cracks, to embrace every moment, even if they seem fleeting. Jack's expression softened, a flicker of realization crossing his face. It's scary to let people in, he admitted. But he hesitated, guilt clouding his eyes for a moment. I feel drawn to you. The words hung heavy between them, both thrilling and frightening. Emma's heart raced at his honesty. Was this the moment she had hoped for? Drawn how? She asked, her voice steady despite the jitters within. He stepped closer, the distance between them almost non-existent now. I'm not looking for another person to fix me. I'm looking for someone who understands the beauty in the struggles. Someone I can share those moments with, even the messy, imperfect ones. Her breath hitched, an undeniable connection forming in the space where words lingered. But just as Jack began to lean in, the ambience of the fair shifted suddenly. A group of friends erupted in joy nearby, and with it, the moment felt almost shattered by the noise. Can we? She started, heart pounding, but Jack interjected, pulling back slightly. I need to figure this out, he said, frustration threading through his voice. I want to be honest with you, Emma. Then be honest with yourself, she urged, feeling the urgency of the moment slipping away. What do you really want? Jack hesitated, the answer dancing in his eyes, but before he spoke, another buzz from his phone interrupted them. He glanced at the screen, a shadow creeping back. It's my partner again. I should go. Do what you need to do, she said quickly, a surge of understanding flooding through her. As he nodded, Emma felt that familiar nod of uncertainty return. What would he choose when duty called? Would he remember this moment, or would it dissolve into the background noise of his life? Emma, Jack said as he turned back at the last moment, confusion swimming in his gaze. Can we talk more when this is all over? Of course, she replied, knowing that all they had was a fragile glimmer of what could be. As he walked away, a wave of mixed emotions washed over her. She had offered connection, and yet the specter of his responsibilities loomed over them both. Would she be able to keep her heart open, knowing the uncertainty that lay ahead? Turning back towards the flowers, Emma tried to focus on the beauty around her, but the anxious thoughts of what could have been cluttered her mind. She arranged the stems with haste, and as she did, a new voice pierced the air, bright and vibrant. Are you ready for this wedding fair to explode with excitement? Emma lifted her gaze, finding a young couple beaming with anticipation as they approached her booth. Their joy felt palpable and infectious. And just like that, something deep within Emma shifted. Before she could respond, the sound of laughter filled the air once more, reframing her thoughts. Could she embrace this moment? Could she see it as a spark for new beginnings? And then she felt Jack's presence again, a thought cutting through her hopeful distraction. When he made his choice, would she still be his first thought? Emma forced a smile as the couple drew closer, their excitement almost radiating from them. The young woman, a whirlwind of energy in a light summer dress, practically bounced on her feet. We've been dreaming about this day forever. Can you help make it phenomenal? The sincerity in the woman's question drew Emma in, grounding her amidst the swirling storm of her thoughts about Jack. It was easy to get lost in the couple's enthusiasm. She realized this was a moment not just about the flowers, but about new beginnings and possibilities. Of course, Emma said, her voice bubbling with newfound hope. What do you have in mind? While the couple animatedly shared their vision, Emma's mind wandered back to her earlier conversation with Jack. He was here to find something beautiful for his daughter. It was clear their bond went deeper than casual friendship. The couple helped her escape into a realm filled with soft whites and blush pinks that flowed like gentle breezes. Each flower they selected seemed to intertwine with their dreams for the future, a reminder that love could bloom beautifully. But amidst the laughter that filled the booth, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that she, too, was at a crossroads. She needed a connection, but Jack's mounting responsibilities loomed like a shadow. Could she take a leap of faith in him? Would he return to her when the weight of his world pressed too closely? After what felt like hours, the young couple strolled towards the exit, each holding their bouquet with a sparkle in their eyes. "Thank you so much. We can't wait to see how it all turns out," the bride exclaimed, confidence exuding from her every word. "Congratulations," Emma called after them, a genuine smile brightening her face. With the couple gone, the noise around her faded back to a dull hum. Emma wondered if this joy would ever be hers. What would it take for someone like Jack to prioritize her in his whirlwind life? Would he ever see the beauty she saw in their connection? The fair began to wind down, lights twinkling like stars above, and distant laughter echoing like soft music in her mind. She gathered her things slowly, her heart heavier than usual. Should she have pushed him harder to confront his feelings? Would being bold have changed the outcome of their conversation? And then, just as she was about to leave, she heard a familiar voice slicing through the atmosphere. "Emma." Her heart leaped as she turned to find Jack making his way through the crowd, determination etched in his features. The warm brown of his eyes seemed to resonate with a mixture of urgency and purpose. "I was looking for you," he said, breathless as if he'd run through the fair. "Can we talk?" Time melted away, and the surrounding noise faded into a distant whisper. Emma nodded, feeling the ache of hope burst forth. This moment could change everything, she thought as she met his gaze. But just as Jack opened his mouth to speak, a commotion erupted nearby, a shout, some frantic movement. Emma's stomach knotted, sensing something was off. "Wait, what is happening?" she asked, hand instinctively reaching for Jack's. He looked back towards the noise, hesitation flickering in his eyes. "We might need to see what is going on, Jack." She pulled him back, desperate to claim this moment, to make him understand. "Maybe we can just focus on us for a minute?" He hesitated, the shadows of choice spinning around them. "I'm trying. I really am," he whispered, uncertainty dancing in his gaze. Emma's heart raced. Would this be the moment she had always dreamed about, or would chaos take it all away from her? As they stood there, wrapped in their shared uncertainty, she couldn't help but wonder, would they find a path through the chaos together, or was the moment fated to slip through her fingers again? The tension crackled in the air, drawing Emma and Jack closer even as the chaos unfolded around them. She felt the weight of his hand pressing against hers, a lifeline in a sea of uncertainty. What did he want to say? Why did the loud bursts of excitement from the crowd feel so distant compared to the thunderous racing of her heart? "Emma, listen," he began, but just then, a loud crash echoed through the fair. Panic rippled among the fairgoers, pulling their attention. Emma's eyes darted toward the source, a toppled booth, snacks scattered, children crying, and people rushing to help. It was all too chaotic, too much. "Maybe we should," Jack started again, but Emma tightened her grip on his hand. The connection felt electric, but they could lose it in an instant if they didn't act now. "No," she interrupted, her voice firmer than she felt. "Let us not let this moment go." Jack's gaze softened, uncertainty dissipating like morning mist. "Emma," he breathed, leaning closer still until their foreheads were almost touching. The world around them blurred. It was just the two of them. "Things are complicated, my life, my responsibilities. But I came here for a reason." She could sense the struggle in his words and in his heart. The urgency of the moment crackled, like the balloon of hope she held too tightly in her chest, ready to pop. "What reason?" she whispered, drawing courage from every flower she had arranged that day, the beauty and fragility of new beginnings. Jack hesitated, his eyes searching hers. "I want to be here, Emma, for you, on more than just a friendly basis. But life." He paused, shaking his head as though to clear it. "I'm scared. Scared that I can't give you what you deserve." Emma's breath caught in her throat. "But you can," she exclaimed, her voice stronger now. Look at the couple from earlier. Love takes risks. It's about making an effort despite the messiness of life. A flicker of something in his eyes, a spark of hope, defiance, told her he was listening, absorbing her words. Let us take that risk together, she continued, her heart racing. Trust that we can navigate this, whatever this is, together. But just as the beginnings of a smile tugged at his lips, a child burst through the crowd, tears streaming down his little face. Jack instinctively shifted toward the child, a protective demeanor emerging. Hey kiddo, what's wrong? As he knelt down, the shift brought Emma back to reality. It filled her with both admiration and trepidation. He was a father first, always responding to the needs around him. I lost my mommy. The kid wailed, pointing wildly toward the direction of a flurry of adults. Jack's protective instincts kicked in even stronger, and he stood, determination set in his brow. All right, let us find her, he promised, voice steady and soothing. He took a step away from Emma, as he focused on the child. Emma stood frozen, the moment slipping away, that flicker of connection dimming as Jack's attention turned fully to the child. The noise of the fair grew louder, swirling in her ears like lost whispers. Jack, she called after him, feeling the dilemma roll inside her. Should she chase after him? Should she pull him back? But in that instant, she realized something profound. Their moment wasn't he lost, it was just postponed. Jack was a caring man, a devoted father, and perhaps giving him space to act was just as important as holding him close. As he turned back to her, a frown creasing his brow, she shouted, I'll be right here when you're done. He nodded, uncertainty shimmering in his eyes, mingling with unwavering resolve. As he disappeared into the crowd, Emma took a deep breath, feeling a mix of hope and fear flood her system. For a moment, everything was chaotic, but in the heart of that chaos, she felt a storm brewing, one of possibilities and heartache. Could they weather it together? As the crowd surged forward, she remained rooted, every bone in her body telling her that this wasn't the end of their story. Would they unite past the storm? Would he see the love waiting for him on the other side? Emma couldn't know yet, but the weight of uncertainty held a flicker of hope one neither could ignore. Emma's heart raced as she surveyed the chaos unfolding in front of her. She watched Jack kneeling beside the crying child, a palpable warmth radiating from him despite the tension that still clung to the air like an invisible storm. The way he shifted into protective mode only confirmed what she had always sensed, his deep-rooted sense of duty. Let us find her, he had said, and Emma smiled softly, admiring his calmness, feeling a swell of affection that threatened to spill over. It was in moments like these she realized how easily he could stand there, a lighthouse guiding lost souls. She wished she could be the one to help him navigate the darker waters of his life, to show him that she was ready to weather any storm with him. As Jack led the child away, Emma felt something twist painfully in her chest. She had made herself a promise. No more holding back. But now, sitting in the eye of the storm, the uncertainty made her second-guess her own heart. Around her, fairgoers had returned to their festivities, laughter bubbling up amidst the chaos. The joyous atmosphere felt out of reach, like a distant melody she couldn't quite grasp. She glanced at the scattered snacks and evacuated booths, debris of failed attempts and unfulfilled dreams. What would Jack need from her? Would he come back? The questions multiplied like fireflies in the dusk. Her gaze settled on the wedding booth nearby, dainty decorations swaying with the light breeze. Couples rushed around it, picking out small tokens of their love stories. Visions of happily ever after floated through the air, thick with the scent of popcorn and cotton candy. A thought struck a match in her mind. She always wanted a love story that felt real, not just the grand gestures, but also the day-to-day moments that mattered. Wouldn't it be thrilling to commit to someone brave enough to break down barriers, even when everything around them seemed to be falling apart? She shuffled toward the booth, curiosity bubbling deep inside her, part hope, part fear. Could stepping into that world be what she needed? Moments later, Emma found herself in front of the booth, holding a colorful bouquet of blue daisies. A smile crept onto her lips as she imagined Jack's face if he could only see her attempt to emulate bravery. Maybe she could send him a message through the flowers he adored. Yes, she whispered to herself, a plan unfurling in her heart. I'm ready to go all in. Suddenly, The crowd shifted as Jack came back into view, the child now waving excitedly to his mother off in the distance. Relief washed over him, his expression transforming when he spotted her. The warmth in his eyes ignited her resolve. Emma. He rushed over just as she turned her bouquet, determination glowing like the sun behind her. They met in a space that felt charged with promise and uncertainty. "Hey, I thought I'd surprise you," she said, holding out the daisies as if they were a bridge between them. The moment felt heavy with unspoken words, his gaze dropping to the colorful blooms before lifting back to her eyes, 1,000 answers swirling in his own. But beneath the lightness hung a question neither could ignore. Could love truly blossom, even amid the chaos of life's responsibilities? "Emma," he began, hesitating, his shoulders tense yet hopeful. There was something in his eyes that told her she might finally hear what she'd been longing for. As the fair continued buzzing around them, time slowed. Would this moment break through their fears, or would they retreat back into their separate lives, chasing shadows instead of each other? Emma clutched the daisies tighter. What would he say? What awaited them beyond this moment? As the music swelled in the background, the air thick with possibility, Emma held her breath, ready for whatever came next. Jack's gaze bore into Emma, and the world around them faded away. The jumbled noise of laughter and chatter slipped into a quiet hum. It was just the two of them, suspended in this moment where everything felt possible. "Emma, he started again, but words got caught in his throat. She could almost see the struggle in his brow, the weight he carried lifting and falling with each breath. The distance between them felt electric, crackling with shared fears and unspoken truths. "What is it?" she asked softly, tilting her head, urging him to continue. The daisies were warm against her chest, a comforting reminder of her own resolve. "I've been thinking a lot about us," Jack said finally, his voice low and earnest, as if he was revealing a secret meant for only her ears. "About how I can't seem to shake this feeling of wanting more than just this friendship." Hope surged within Emma, but it tangled with the reality of Jack's life. Did he really think they could jump into something deeper? "Jack, you have so much on your plate. Aren't you worried about adding another layer to your life right now?" He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck like he always did when he was deep in thought. "You're right, I do have a lot going on. I care about my kids. I care about my job." But his gaze met hers, solid and unyielding. "You matter to me. It's terrifying, but I don't want to let fear dictate what I feel any longer." Emma's heart fluttered. Here they were, barely 2 steps into a conversation that could shift the course of their lives forever. But what if it doesn't work out? What if we risk everything and fail? "Then we'll deal with it together," he said, stepping closer, the space between them closing. "I want to try. I want to see if we can make something real." The heat of his breath brushed against her skin, making her pulse quicken. She wanted to believe him, wanted to embrace this leap of faith, but doubt lingered in her mind. Suddenly, a little girl's laughter broke through their moment, a melody of pure joy. Emma turned instinctively to see the child from before, now happily spinning in circles, her laughter infectious. It sparked something in Emma. "Jack," she said, looking back into his eyes, "you have a beautiful world around you. I want to be a part of it, but it has to be a team effort." He smiled, a genuine warmth spreading across his face, lightening the tension that cloaked them. "Then let us start building that team, one step at a time." Just as Jack reached for her hand, laughter erupted again from the wedding booth nearby. Couples had gathered, all joyfully selecting their symbols of love. Emma's heart tightened as they looked so carefree, so unburdened. "Do you want to join them?" Jack asked, nodding toward the booth, a hint of mischief playing at the corners of his mouth. "Join them?" Emma raised an eyebrow, the suggestion swirling in her mind. "You mean pick out a token of our love story?" He chuckled, the sound washing over her like a warm summer breeze. "Why not? We could be those goofy couples." Emma laughed, the tension in her chest easing. Okay, let us do it." As they made their way to the booth, Emma felt the electricity still buzzing between them. The flowers were clutched tightly in her hand, a symbol of new beginnings and hope. But a question lingered in her mind. Was she ready for this? And even more, could she handle the complexities of his life intertwined with hers? They reached the booth, and Jack picked up a delicate silver ring, holding it out to Emma. "What do you think? A promise to keep exploring?" She nodded slowly, the weight of that promise settling warmly in her heart. But when she looked at the ring, she hesitated. What if it goes beyond exploration? What if we get ourselves into something more complicated? His eyes locked onto hers steady, filled with intent. Then we face it together. As Emma slipped the ring onto her finger, a thrill coursed through her veins. Was this moment just the beginning, or would it lead them into uncharted territory? In that instant, she knew there was no turning back. But before she could voice her thoughts, the fairground's music shifted, and a familiar melody came through the speakers, one that felt almost like a sign. And she wondered, as she took in the sight of Jack smiling at her, if love was not just about finding the right person, but also about the courage to step into the unknown. With her heart racing, she looked back at him and said, "So, what's our next adventure? What awaited them beyond the wedding booth? Would they truly navigate the complexities of a deepening relationship, or were they simply destined to exist in moments of blissful chaos?" As the music swirled around them, a sense of excitement enveloped Emma. Jack, with his warm smile and the silver ring now glinting on her finger, seemed as fearless as she felt hesitant. "Let us go pick out something fun," he said, his enthusiasm infectious. They approached the table bustling with various items, a collage of keepsakes, trinkets, and symbols, everything screaming love and promise. Emma's heart raced as she scanned the colorful assortment, each piece begging for a story. She could hardly believe her luck. Here was Jack, standing beside her, a man willing to face the unknown and explore something real. "Look at this," Jack said, holding up a small wooden heart carved with intricate patterns. "It's so unique. What do you think?" She turned it over in her hand, its weight familiar and comforting. "I love it," she replied, feeling a pull toward it. "It's like it holds secrets." The thought of what lay ahead filled her mind with both anticipation and fear. "Secrets can be good," he said, his eyes sparkling. "They can lead to amazing stories." Emma couldn't help but smile, catching a glimpse of the man behind the facade. A father, a friend, a potential partner. But she also saw the fragility in his ambition, the hesitance he carried like a cloak. "But they can also mean trouble," she warned, her voice dropping. "Jack, what if this doesn't work out? What if we dig into those secrets and find ourselves lost?" He paused, the buoyancy of their moment morphing into something heavier. "Then we get those maps out, Emma. We figure it out." His certainty struck her, sending a ripple of warmth through her. But as she turned the wooden heart in her palm, anxiety threaded through her thoughts. Could she be strong enough to help navigate through his chaos? Would she get lost in the complexities of his life, a busy father, a demanding job, and now her? "Do you really mean what you said?" Emma blurted, her voice tinged with urgency. "About facing everything together? Because it feels like a lot to take on, Emma. We don't have to rush," he replied, stepping closer, his hand brushing lightly against hers. "This doesn't have to be about making lifetime promises in a split second. Let us take little steps, all right? Enjoy this adventure and find our way." "Little steps," she murmured, repeating the phrase like a mantra. "I can do that." The laughter around them resumed, reminding her of the world beyond this moment. Couples admired rings and shared glances with infectious joy, but she paused, letting herself absorb the warmth. Could they truly navigate this shared adventure? Okay. She took a deep breath, letting go of her reservations for just a moment. "Let us carve our own story, starting with this wooden heart." They shared a smile, a fleeting moment that felt sheer electric. At that instant, the world outside quieted, and it was just them, two pieces of a puzzle slowly beginning to fit together. "Now," Jack said, a newfound determination shining in his eyes, "let us go try out that ring toss game over there." "Seriously?" Emma chuckled, arching an eyebrow. "You want to challenge me?" "Absolutely. Loser owes the winner dinner." He grinned, playful and carefree, making her heart leap. "Game on," she exclaimed, but as they made their way to the game, she couldn't shake the feeling that their adventure was about to lead them down unexpected paths. Emma glanced at Jack, and the warmth radiating from him seemed to pull her deeper into this whirlwind of emotions. Would they truly take on the world together, or was she still overlooking the intricacies waiting to surface? As laughter and cheers erupted around them, Emma stepped into the unknown, curiosity gripping her. What awaited them past ring toss? Would their adventure unravel hidden secrets or create lifelong memories they had yet to discover? As they approached the vibrant ring toss game, the cheers from the crowd masked the nervous fluttering in Emma's stomach. The colorful rings piled high brought an instant air of competition. Jack's energy radiated, making her feel alive and bold, yet a whisper of doubt lingered at the back of her mind. "All right, let's see what you've got," he said, enthusiasm bubbling in his voice. Emma grabbed a ring, its plastic cool against her palms. She took a step back and aimed, then hurled the ring toward the pegs. It missed entirely, landing with a thud on the ground. Laughter erupted from Jack, but it wasn't team mocking. It was warm, encouraging. "Hey, that was just a warm-up," she laughed, feeling the weight lift with each chuckle they shared. "Your turn now," Jack said, his confidence unwavering as he took his place at the line. He tossed a ring effortlessly, and it landed perfectly on the peg. "1 point for me," he declared, puffing out his chest like a victorious champion. With each turn, the game surged with playful banter. They traded jokes, sparred with quips, and gradually let the world fade into the joyous energy of the moment. But beneath the lightheartedness, Emma felt the tension still lurking. Could exhilaration mask their real emotions? Could simple fun ease the complexity brewing between them? As their games proceeded, there was a rhythm, a bounce between them that started to feel significant. Yet, Emma glanced at the cheering peers and felt the gravity of her own insecurities. "Jack," she said after a particularly enthusiastic round where she actually scored, "what if I never navigate your world the way you hope? What if I'm too ordinary for it all?" "Ordinary?" He chuckled, but his laughter faded as he looked into her eyes, sincerity appearing as he continued. "Emma, it's that ordinariness that's extraordinary to me. You might not see it, but you bring so much warmth to everything here." His words sank deep, wrapping around her heart like a comforting embrace. At that moment, she wondered if they could truly move past their misunderstandings. Was it possible to embrace the ordinary and the extraordinary all at once? As the spirited atmosphere crackled around them, they finished the game, with Jack ultimately proving to be the victor. "Now you owe me dinner," he exclaimed, eyes glinting mischievously. Emma grinned, the competitive edge fading into excitement. "All right, fine, but we're going somewhere that serves dessert too. Ice cream is part of the deal." "Deal," he said, his voice bright as they turned to leave the booth. But even as joy bubbled up, an unsettling feeling lingered. The laughter, the fun, it felt almost fragile under the weight of unspoken thoughts. Just then, a sudden shout jolted her from her thoughts. "Jack!" Emma. Turning, they saw a group of people waving them over, faces alight with enthusiasm. "Looks like we're not alone anymore," Jack remarked, a note of nervous energy creeping into his tone. Emma felt a rush of unease. Would this sudden influx pull them back into the frantic pace of life, away from the warmth they just built? "Should we?" she asked, glancing at him. Part of her wanted to run toward the laughter, while another part yearned for the solace of their shared moment. "Together?" Jack offered gently, his eyes searching hers. "Together," she confirmed, taking a deep breath. As they stepped toward the new group, Emma realized that every twist they took only folded deeper into the story that was beginning to weave between them, rich with potential and uncertainty. What awaited them in the laughter of their friends? Would the shadows of their lives become lighter, or were deeper secrets about to surface in this vibrant setting? Emma felt the warmth of Jack's hand in hers as they approached the gathering, the chatter and laughter enveloping them like a soothing embrace. It was chaotic and alive, filled with joy that sparkled like the twinkling lights above. Yet within her, a flicker of anxiety remained, mingling with the thrill of their playful connection. Would they still feel this spark when surrounded by the demands of life that crowded in like storm clouds? As they entered the lively group, a wave of energy greeted them. Friends they hardly knew cheered them on, encouraging playful antics and the sweet embarrassment of shared experiences. Jack's laughter rose above the rest, a sound so genuine it tugged at something deep within her. She smiled, her heart sinking with the rhythm of carefree joy around them. Together, they accommodated themselves into the pleasant chaos, and just for a moment, her worries drifted away, forgotten. But as the moments passed, Emma felt something shift in the air. Conversations rolled like thunder under the laughter. Secret glances flitted between couples, and the temptation of vulnerability whispered sweetly in her ear. Jack was drawn into a conversation with a friend, his focus momentarily shifting away. Emma stood alone, feeling the weight of uncertainty tugging at her heartstrings. Would he choose to engage with her in front of others? Or would she become just another face in the crowd? She hated feeling this way, this gnawing fear of invisibility in a moment that had once felt so intimate. She took a breath, reminding herself of the courage she had summoned by this very ring they had picked. No more retreating into the shadows. She had recognized the fragility of new beginnings, and she couldn't allow her fears to steal this joy. Not now. Gathering her courage, she stepped closer to where Jack stood, his deep laughter ringing clear. The sound ignited a warmth within her. "What is the game now?" she asked, interjecting playfully. Jack turned and smiled, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "We're deciding who can recite the cheesiest pickup lines. Care to join, or are you too chicken?" His playful challenge sent a rush of adrenaline through her. "Oh, I can definitely compete," she said, straightening her back, emboldened by the thrill of it all. She could feel the growing energy buzzing between them. Their shared laughter brewed a connection stronger than before. As they gathered with the others, Jack stood close, their shoulders brushing, igniting sparks yet again. They took turns, each line funnier than the last, and a delightful warmth bloomed in Emma's chest. In the midst of shared jokes and laughter, she caught glimpses of Jack's personality, his silliness, his genuine laughter, and his warmth wrapping around her, as if to say, "You belong here." Finally, it was Jack's turn. He cleared his throat dramatically. "Are you a magician? Because every time I look at you, everyone else disappears." The group erupted into joyful laughter, and Emma rolled her eyes playfully while her heart raced. That one line seemed to encapsulate everything she felt, how intoxicating it was to be pulled into his orbit. In the light of those smiles, she summoned the bravery she had learned earlier. Moving closer, she decided to reveal a piece of art she'd written with her heart a few days prior, something she wanted him to know about. Okay, I have one," she began. "Do you believe in love at first sight, or should I walk by again?" With a cheeky glint in her eye, she made a playful twirl before them, her laughter harmonizing with the joyous chaos of their friends. "Wow, someone's getting creative," Jack said, his laughter warming her soul. But underneath the playful banter, she saw a spark of admiration in his gaze. The weight of what they had built shimmered between them. "Hey everyone," a friend called out. "How about we settle this game with some ice cream? Losers buy." With cheers erupting around, Emma felt a bubbling excitement. It was perfect, that kind of light-hearted connection she wished to share with Jack. "Your treat?" she teased, raising an eyebrow, a playful challenge hanging in the air. Jack grinned, determination etched in his features. Moving away from the ordinary is part of our story now, right? Her heart soared, love twinkling in her eyes as she saw him accept the challenge with newfound energy. They slipped away from the crowd and found themselves in line for ice cream, the silly banter continuing to flow freely. Conversations mildly brushed on friends, families, and aspirations, nothing too heavy, just pure spontaneity. As they waited for their treats, the air buzzed with hope and possibility. Jack turned to her, a flicker of the earlier weight returning to his expression. "You know, Emma, I really meant it earlier. I want to see where this could go. I'm ready to take those little steps," he admitted, tone earnest, eyes searching for confirmation. Her heart danced, a rush of warmth flooding her. "Me too, Jack." Just saying those words felt like laying down a stone in a long road that finally felt like it was leading somewhere, like a love letter unfolding right before her. As they walked together, ice cream in hand, the world opened up around them. They wandered through booths, laughter trailing behind, creating a story that wrapped around them like bright flowers in bloom. Emma realized love wasn't just about the big moments or the fairy tale endings. Sometimes, love blossomed like delicate flowers growing through cracks, weaving through possibilities, revealing vibrancy in every shared laugh and every haunting secret they were willing to uncover. As dusk settled in and lights twinkled around them like stars, the swirling crowd faded, leaving just them standing in the center of a beautiful, chaotic moment. They had made it through together. "Jack," Emma said softly, "no matter what happens, I want us to weave our stories together to cultivate this feeling." And with that, They turned toward the horizon, stepping boldly into the tapestry of life waiting for them, hand in hand. Now, more than ever, she felt ready to embrace the adventure ahead, fully open to every risk, every joy that love could bring. So, as they looked out over the gently illuminated fairground, the possibilities stretched infinite before them. Emma smiled, certain that this was just the beautiful beginning they both needed. And just as she forced out a breathless "What's next?" Jack's expression deepened. "Let us discover the world together," he declared. In that moment, under the twinkling lights and surrounded by the warmth of their connection, Emma knew they were no longer just waiting for life to happen, they were bravely stepping forward, ready to create a story worth telling. This was it. This was the true adventure. And with that spark ignited, all she saw was light, leading both of them forward, transforming every uncertainty into wonder. Now that you've witnessed this beautiful transformation, I urge you to be part of our journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep us thriving. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Your thoughts matter. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. True fans know how essential it is to uplift our community through these actions. Don't wait, not even one more second to share.